Hello and welcome back. So, you want to hear a new story? Let me think, what can I tell you today? Oh, what about the story of Apricot, a young girl who lives in a world very similar to ours, but the big exception is that in her world every schoolgirl is a magical girl. When I say everyone, that's not really true. She sadly isn't able to transform, and so she is the only normal person. Does she survive her normal school life in this? Is she able to cope with everything? Will she become one? And most importantly, will she be able to do her laundry? This and even more we will find out now in Apricot Cookies by Lloyd-Judson. Have fun. Yes, we reached Apricot Cookies. A comic that's a little bit harder to explain than all the other ones I did before. But before I go into it, there's one thing I have to do at this point. I have to really deeply apologize to its creator, Lloyd-Judson, for doing something I always say not to do when you start reading or checking out indie comics or indie creations. I did the most worst thing I really say to avoid. I judged his comic, when I first saw it, I judged his comic by only one page and only by looking at the website, but not going into it. Yeah, I'm really deeply sorry for that. The reason that, or let's put it this way, there is a reason for that, why I did this. And I'm really sorry that it really sounds hypocritical when I say it, but really it really was this way. I judged this comic because of one reason alone. Like I said, I saw one page and sawing the website, my first impression was of this comic. It's just your average standard magical girls genre story. That was the reason. It really, the whole art style, the whole way the website was presented, I really got this impression. This was my first impression when I saw it. And like I said, it's a bad thing to really judge this just from the first sight. And I really normally don't judge. Like I said, I normally don't judge a book by its cover. But in this case, it was so amazingly done that you really had, from the first time you saw this page, you saw the sites, you saw the art, you really thought this was just another magical girl story. And this is even if it now sounds a little bit strange, this is also a very, very great thing about this comic. And why I think it works the way it works. Because it has this feel to it. If it wasn't for this, I think many of the things he did with this comic, the story or the overall thing he did, I think it never would work because the way it does. What I want to say with this, even if this is a comic that I can't explain into too much detail, because this is an experience. This is not a normal read. This is a really experience. This is another great example what I mean when I say give an indie creator all the way. Let him do what he does best. Just let him create something. Don't give him anything. Don't give him any lists what he has to what he has to avoid, what he has to do. Just let him loose and let him do his thing. This Apricot Cookies is one of the craziest rides I have ever done since I started reading webcomics. I have read a lot of crazy ones. I have talked about a lot of ones. One good example is Sammy, that also at first glance looks like something completely different than you really get. But this one is really one fantastic example how you can write on the one hand some kind of love letter, but on the other hand just go all out and just use this what everyone knows and create something absolutely different out of it. So what is this story all about? So let's begin at the beginning in so many ways. The story is about Apricot, who lives in a world where every schoolgirl in Japan is a magical girl, and she is the only one who isn't one. So she's considered normal, and she thinks all the time she hopes that this will change over time. And the great thing about it is every trope, everything that you know about the whole magical girl genre is in there. It's all in there. You have the fights, you have the transformation sequences, you have the schoolgirl fights, and so on. Everything is in there. You have the typical storylines, what's going on, but this is not that what makes it fantastic. It makes it fantastic what Lewis does with everything. He plays with your expectations. You start reading. Let's do it a little bit differently. When you think about a magical girl story, normally the story begins with our main heroine who starts talking about, or who you see fighting, who you have a big origin story, etc., etc. That's normally how these stories start. If I had when I first started this comic, I had immediately seen that this is not your typical story. Firstly, on the webpage, if I read everything about it, and there are only a few paragraphs to be honest, you will see the way he writes, or he introduced himself, he introduced the comic. It's very different than your normally standard. Hi, I'm creator X, and I do this, and so on. And this is the first thing I really love. He puts a lot of humor in there, and this is really great because this already shows how the rest could work. And when you start the comic starts with the evil-looking guy sitting there. This is not a spoiler, by the way. Like I said, these are the first pages, so I'm not spoiling here anything, so no spoiler section needed. And we get that this is he calls himself the Director of Darkness. So. And the way it begins is he starts breaking the fourth wall. He starts trying to explain everything. He tries to get a projector going to give us a PowerPoint presentation. That doesn't work. He calls IT. He takes a flip chart, draws everything. He tries to explain everything what's going on. I mean, this is the first indication. This is the next indication that here's something not working, or this is something you don't expect in so many ways. And this is, it really works. It really works. It's absolutely, it's like someone really, like some kind of boss really tries to explain something to an audience in a very dry way, in so many ways, just with his own personality put in there. He keeps it serious through all the first introduction pages. This makes it already very, very hilarious in so many ways. But when we start getting to our to the main part of the story, this is where the interesting bit begins, because we come to our main heroine. We start. She starts talking. It's like she's starting to tell you again, breaking the fourth wall, who she is, etc., etc. But again, we learned that from the first part, that he broke the fourth wall. Here, we think she breaks the fourth wall. This goes a while, and we see her doing her laundry, going going under the shower, and so on. And the first indication that this is already going a little bit in a different direction is when her friend starts coming up, and this is already then she starts asking to whom you are talking to. So we have the idea that she's just talking to herself, or she's starting going crazy. It's the way the characters talk. The whole it works because we are always thinking something else. And like I said, this goes on and on. We come to the transformation sequences that are at the beginning. They are there, but Apricot gives some just her thoughts about it. She just comments them. We get to see that there at the school there are the magical girls, there are the boys who play with the cards, summon their monsters, like all the card games, the Japanese card games, card collectors, and the whole time everything doesn't go the way we expected. And believe me, it's very hard to not explain everything, because like I said, there are so many different things. Even if we get to the first part where she tries to transform, that goes wrong, and so many ways. We always, the way Lewis does it, he starts telling the story like we think it will go, but somewhere at the end, at the beginning, or between, he starts drifting into another direction. He takes the whole part we think that will happen, puts it upside down, and do something totally different with it. I mean, normally, if I would say, if you do too much of this stuff, at some point you will be. There is too much. You don't like to see that anymore. In this case, that's the main part of the whole comic. He takes the whole magical girl story genre and puts it upside down and puts his own spin on it, and it shouldn't work. Like I said, it shouldn't work, but it works so well because what he does is he's not taking the piss out of this this whole genre. He takes it, he shows it, like I said, the artwork from the way he does the artwork, the designs of the characters, everything. He takes the time, even at the beginning where we see all all the classmates or schoolmates from Apricot. They all transform in their forms. And he takes the transformation sequence with it. He takes the time and doesn't. He used everything of this magical girl genre. He takes it. He doesn't destroy it from the beginning. He just he takes it like a love letter. He really is able to redo it, and just at some point he puts his own spin. He just says, "Now I'm doing what I want to do with it," and this is it really works. Like I said, it really works amazingly. It's absolutely fantastic. Also, the way he calls his characters their names. I just give you 3 examples so you have an idea: meal deal, cream tea, or butter punch. And like I said, the names alone are amazing. And what happens? The monster designs. You have your squid-like creatures, your giants. I can't tell you anymore. It's really a fantastic ride, But it's very hard to talk about too much, because, like I said, this is not your typical story you read and enjoy. This is an experience. You have to experience this for yourself. You start reading it, and like I said, I think the best thing is to do in this case, throw think at all the tropes, everything that normally makes up this genre. Put it in your head, but don't put your expectations too high that this will happen. Just use it to really enjoy what will happen, and it's definitely one of the interesting and funniest comics I have read for quite some time. I will say that at some points there might be people who don't like it, but it's really worth checking out in so many ways. Even if you're like myself, not a fan of this genre, what he did is really, he made it that even people like us really can enjoy it, because like I said, on the one hand, we get what we don't like, but we see what someone can do to make us enjoy this. Just putting his own spin, just take the tropes, just take the themes, normally everything will be used, and just throw them out of the windows. Just play with our expectations in so many ways. And like I said, the artwork, the art style was the first thing that I really thought that he does. The way he works with the characters. The characters have these very, or everything is very strong outlined. The colors are more flat, but the background's more light than the characters or the more important parts, and it's highly detailed. There are so many. There's also an amazing. I personally like that joke about high detail drawings in the comic. Like I said, it's really interesting, and the best part is the characters are crazy on the one hand, but they are this lovable crazy. You know what you really know what you get, or not. Like I said, there are very interesting turnarounds in the story, in the way the characters act. I don't know what to say more about this comic. It's really an experience. And again, I'm sorry that I judged this one just from the cover when I started reading it. It was wrong. But I'm happy I really checked it out, because this is, like I said, this is what I want to see from indie artists. Just do what you like. Just take a story, write something out of it, and there is the possibility you get this. Now, like I said, it's this. I would say this is a one-in-a-kind situation again. I don't think someone else would have done it this way. He just found the right amount, the right balance between making jokes, keeping it serious, don't overdoing it, and this balance really shows. It's so amazing. You have, like I said, the serious parts with the funny parts, with the strange parts. Everything is so great, so good balanced in so many ways. It's really amazing. I really enjoyed it, and I really hope more people find out about this, because this is something, like I said, people who don't like this genre, people who like this genre, who love this genre, will love. It's like I said, it's a kind of love letter, but also a love letter who makes fun of this genre. It's yeah, I don't know what to say more about it, because the more I would talk about it, the more it would take just the magic out of it, to use that pun, because this, like I said, this is something you have to experience for yourself, and not just let someone tell you what's happening in there. Read it and enjoy, and like I said, just enjoy the prologues to every chapter with the director of Darkness. I think this was one of the hilarious parts of this whole comic, because the way it's introduced with everything, it's like I said, it's very hard. It's very hard, especially it's like I said, it's very hard to don't like it, especially when the normal situations like calling IT or something like comes into mind, or showing specific things like HD and so on. It's a fun ride. So yeah, check it out. Apricot Cookies by Lloyd-Judson. It's yeah, I don't know what to say anymore. Please check it out, and I really hope you enjoyed the way I did. And like always, if you love it, support him in any way you can, and yeah, share the comic if you think you have other people who might like it. So and see you next time. Thanks and bye.